Hi guys, and welcome to this video. This is Jamie from System22 and GreatWebDesign.com. We're going to continue with our one-page scrolling Bootstrap site here, and we're going to add a sort of partners logo carousel to the bottom of our site. So if I scroll down to where we left off, just after the wedding section, I'm going to put it just after the wedding section here. And what I'm trying to do with this video is I'm going to put a little section in here, and I'm going to have some logos, sort of camera maker logos, and they're going to be just scrolling across the screen for a bit of extra interest. So let's get started. As usual with all of the videos in this series, there will be a downloadable PDF of the changed code available just below the video here. So as this carousel is going to involve a bit of JavaScript, which is kind of a little bit beyond the scope of this little series of courses here, we're going to go to a site called Bootstrap.com. I'll put this link down below as well. And they've got a little carousel here that we can use, and it's got the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript that we need. So let's open our folder with our website files in it here. Let's open up our index.html file with our bracket software. Brackets is a free text editor. You can find the link to it down below this video as well. And let's also open our CSS or cascading style sheet. That'll do for the time being. Now if we go back to our Bootstrap site, now we want to go to the HTML tab here. And this is all that HTML for this slider here. Let's just set up our section first in our index HTML file. We scroll down to where we left off at the bottom here, and once again we'll copy over our trusted contact section. Just Control C, I'm just copying that. I'm going to drop down a couple of lines and paste it there. I'll leave that one and we'll start to modify this one, and I'll call it partners. And again, we want to put that there just in case we want to link to it. And we'll put it here as well for the class for our CSS. Okay, so we can get rid of the row because we're not going to be using that. If you see here, if you click on that opening div, it'll highlight the closing div. We want to delete all that and insert our carousel HTML code in between there. So just go ahead and select all of that. All I'm doing is left clicking and dragging across, and I'll copy that back to our brackets and paste it where our cursor is. Control V or right click and paste. Okay, that's put the skeleton in there for our HTML, so the build. Now we need some CSS. I'm just going to tidy this up slightly, get it in line so it's clean looking code. And I'm just hitting the tab key to move it across so it's easy to read, and you can see the different sections a lot easier. That makes it a lot cleaner looking code like that, and for anybody that needs to edit it, it should make it easier for them to edit. Okay, so let's save that, Control S, and go down to our CSS. And again, I'll just copy this contact section CSS right here, and we'll go down to where we left off again. Once again, we'll give it a title, which is // // back in between the stars, and we'll call it partners section. And let's just paste our code that we copied just down below here. There we go. Now I don't want that height 100%, that's for sure, because that means it's going to be the full depth of your screen, whatever you're viewing it on. Padding top, we'll adjust the padding as we need it. Background, let's have a white background. And like the others, I've had padding top 150 and also padding bottom 150. And that's just the gap between where the actual section starts and where the content starts. Now I like to make it similar on both the top and the bottom, so let's change that to bottom. I'll probably want to change these heights when I've got that carousel working in there. Text align center, we can leave that for the minute. We're probably not going to need that for what I've got in mind. So let's save that, Control S. And back to our Bootstrap site. Now we need the JavaScript. The JavaScript, what makes it work. And I mean, I could have sat here and coded all this for you, but it's kind of tedious. JavaScript's a fantastic thing to learn, but that really would be a whole nother course in itself. So I'm just going to copy this JavaScript and I'll show you how to insert it into your HTML. Let's go back to our brackets. And we're going to put this in our index HTML just below the last script we put here. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can put it actually in the HTML here, or you can create a separate JavaScript file with it and then call in that JavaScript by doing this. You see, telling it where the source is. But I'll just go ahead and put this inline here, just like the above one. You don't want too many because it can look overcomplicated. But for this course, this will work fine. Okay, and then in between, I've created an opening script tag and a closing script tag. And in between, of course, is where we want to put our code. And there we have it. I'm just going to align this and tidy it up again. Again, selecting, and I'm just tabbing over to the right. That's fine. And save that. And the only real thing that you're probably going to want to change on here, or you might not, is the interval here, which is 10,000 milliseconds or 10 seconds. And if you want your carousel to scroll quicker, just make that a smaller number. If you want it to take longer when it rolls round, make that a larger number. So we've got that all saved. Let's go back to our site, give it a refresh and see what it looks like. So nothing here at the moment. Let's do a quick refresh. And there's our carousel. Looks fantastic. Not. But we'll do some CSS and we'll customize it and get it looking how we want. And there we are. It's doing a quick scroll. It's only actually going one across every 10 seconds. So I want to get rid of this. Don't want that. And I want the background to be white. So let's select this and see what we need to do to make that happen. So what we want to do is get rid of that background image there. We don't want that one. Take them all off. And as you can see, that's disappeared now, so that's got rid of that. So what I'm going to do is just copy this top little bit right there. Control C and go back to our CSS in our brackets here. I need to change that to partners section. Okay, and let's start below, and I'm going to actually give it another title of carousel, I think. Just so later on we can find it easier if we need to. and that bit of code that I just copied. Paste that in here. Now it's blanked out because we'd unselected it up there. I'm just going to say background image. I'm going to get rid of all that, and I'm going to say none, N-O-N-E. And what I want to do is make sure I've got that closing curly bracket there, or else it's not going to work. And I can do the same thing. I can just copy this over. If we go back to the site, I'll just move this down a little bit. I can copy this over and it'll get rid of this one if I just give it the indicator of carousel right. So carousel control right, I should say. So let's select this, copy, and change this one to right on this particular one, and it'll do the other side. Save, back to our site, do a quick refresh. There we are. And because I changed that partners section name at the top there, it's given it 150 at the top, 150 at the bottom. And it's taken away those control shadows that we had in there, those images there. Now the background, of course, we want to turn that white. We've got text here. I really don't need that for what I'm got in mind. If you're going to be doing this, inserting images, and you want to give it a title or something underneath, you're going to want to leave that there. So let's get rid of this right here. Make this white. Let's see what it is. Inspect. Right click and inspect, or hit F12. Make sure we're on the correct section. I believe that section is probably called a well. Yep, there it is. Div class well. And we want a background color of white, which we know, if you've been following this class or know anything about CSS, is FFF. It's actually 6 Fs, but whenever you've got 6 of the same, you can just do 3. So that's got rid of that. We've got a border going on there. So I want the border none, just to tell it not to have a border. And we've still got a little line at the top there, and I believe that's probably something like inner shadow or box shadow probably. Yeah, which is right there. Let's just uncheck that. Still there. Okay. Oh, maybe web. Okay, whatever. Let's just change it to none. Yeah, that worked fine. So what I'll do is copy this as usual. Go back to our CSS. Drop down a couple of lines, paste this in there. Now we didn't change the height, we didn't change the padding, didn't change the margin at the bottom. I may want to change that at a later date. That's probably offsetting that text there. Background color, that's fine. Border none, we changed that. Border radius, we can get rid of that. We didn't change that. And let's just leave the box shadow none. And save that, back to our site. Do a quick refresh. Okay. It's getting more like what I was hoping to have. Now what I've done, I've just went into Chrome and downloaded some camera manufacturers logos. So if we go to our website folder here, I've put them in our images folder, in a folder of their own called partners. And I've got 9 little logos there. And all we need to do is change out our image names here for our new ones. So let's go back to our HTML and get that done. Scroll back up to that code that we pasted in there. Here's our section. Here's the images at the moment. And as you see, if you just mouse over them, it'll show you the images that you've got there, and we just want to put in our new ones. At the moment, what we've got going on here, each of these divs is one of those images. And what we've got going on inside the div here, we've got our image. We've actually got it encased in an anchor tag or an href. So if you want that image to link to somewhere, you just need to put the URL in there. For instance, if I put the Canon picture in there and you want to link to canon.com, you just put the canon.com URL in there and it can go to it. So let's put our images in here. I want to get rid of what's there. Make sure you don't cut off those inverted commas there. Now I know it's in the image folder, so it's img / and then inside there, if I click on this, it should show us the partners folder. There it is. And inside there, let's just start with 1. And what I'll do is I'll just select that, copy it all the way down, and then just change the number because my images are numbered 1 through 9. So what have we got here? We've got 1. Change that to 2. Next one, funnily enough, will be 3. Now, if you want to add or subtract any images from it, just take one of these divs and you delete one just by deleting everything from the opening div to the closing div. And by the same way, if you want to add more, just copy from the opening div to the closing div, including, and just paste it underneath. I think I've got 9 images, so I'll go ahead and put another 3 in there. Okay, 6, 7, 9. Let's save this. Go back to our site, do a refresh and see what we've got here. Let's close out that inspector for the time being. That should scroll after 10 seconds. Yep, there we go. And it's kind of wide. I guess we could put a title in there saying our partners, but I really don't want to. I want to have a bit of a slimmer section. I really just want these images in there. You know how to put a title. If you want to put a title in, that's fine. You know how to do it. We've already got our titles already created, so it's very easy to do. So let's take some of this padding down. Let's get rid of these numbers. Obviously, like I said before, if you've got images here and you want to put a description, either a heading or a paragraph text underneath, you're going to want to keep those. But I'm going to take those away. So let's go back to our HTML. And just under the image section here, that's the bit of text right there. Just to demonstrate, let's write something in there. Save that. Back to the site. Refresh. It should start from the top. There's that bit of text that I just put in there. And obviously you can change that if you want to. At the moment it's just a regular bit of text. You can make it an H1 or whatever you want to, if you want to make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want to do with it. It's very easy to do. Just put that in between those tags. I just cut it, Control X to cut and paste it in between, do a quick save, back to the site and refresh. Now you've got that huge writing underneath because I've made it H1. But I don't want anything under mine, so I'm going to go back and we're just going to go through and delete all of those. And the last one. Save that. What I want to do is I want to reduce that padding so it's not quite as wide. I want less here, so it's 150 at the moment. Let's take it down to 50. There's our partners section, padding top 150. Just make it 50. And I think when we put our well CSS in here, I've got a feeling the margin, it was to offset that text to centralize everything. So I think I'll just look at it first, but I think it's going to be look like it's going to be 70 on the bottom with that margin bottom there. So let's just do a quick save and take a look, see what we've got. Yeah, that's kind of what we wanted, but like I say, there's a little bit more at the bottom here than there's at the top. Now that's 50 probably, and like I say, there's another 50 on the bottom plus that 20 margin. So let's get rid of that 20 margin and see if that centralizes our little logos there. Quick save. Yep, that seems to have done the trick. It looks a lot more central. Or does it? I haven't refreshed yet. Okay, well let's undo that. That didn't work. Let's Control Z, or Control Z I should say. Let's say margin bottom 0 pixels, because there may be somewhere else where it's giving it that command as well. So all that CSS attribute. Control S to save. Let's do a refresh. Yep, this time that's worked. They're absolutely central here now. That's what I wanted. Now that looks too easy to scroll past before it actually rolls round, because 10 seconds is quite a long time. I know it doesn't sound like it. So let's go in and make that 5 seconds. So it's going to scroll every 5 seconds. So if we go back, we want to go to our HTML, to that bit of JavaScript that we put in, which is right here. I'll give it a title. Again, if somebody else is editing this, it's going to be a little difficult for it. So let's go down and give it a title. There we go. To make it easier to find for anybody else that's coming in behind us that needs to edit this code. And I'll just take that gap out of there. Not that it matters too much, it's just tidying up the code. I'm going to change this. Instead of 10,000, I'll make it 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds. Obviously you have yours doing what you want it to do. Quick save, back to the site. Now this should scroll every 5 seconds. That's it. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. There we go. So that is how you put a little scrolling carousel in. Like I say, you can put any sort of images you want there, but that's a handy little feature. And because we were using JavaScript, I thought it was easier to go out and just get the free code that we could there and paste it in there. So I hope you found that interesting and useful. I think I'll do a video next time just to show you how to, rather than having this loose script rolling around your HTML pages, I'll show you how to actually turn it into a JavaScript file that we can put into our JavaScript folder and just call it in using something like this. So once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and Great Web Design. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.